Hi everyone, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today we're going to be taking a look at Leopard. It's a new expansion for Team Yankee, a World War III miniatures game from Battlefront Miniatures. Leopard introduces the West Germans to World War III, including the very snazzy Leopard tank that you see here prominently on the cover. So we're going to take a look at the book. We're just going to go through not every page, but give you an idea of what you get. Kind of the first thing is the book is nice. It's hardcover, and it's fairly thin. It's only 48 pages long, but it covers a lot of ground, and the West Germans get a lot of cool stuff. Let's go ahead and open it up. We have a nice map of the area. We have Russia, Europe, and what's been happening in the Team Yankee story so far. And here we have the table of contents. A snazzy map of the deployments and the major actions the Soviet thrust into Western Europe. Description of the West German army, and some interesting fluff here on how they wanted to recreate the marital prowess of the Prussians and not harken back to the Nazis of World War II and how their army was formatted. And then we talk about from the explanation of West German history, we go into the hypothetical and fictional attack from East Germany into West Germany. And as we drill down from the West Germans, we start looking at Panzer Division 1. And then we have Camp Group Mueller. He's kind of like Bannon in the Team Yankee story. So he is kind of your hero character, if you will, that the book follows through. So we have Kampfgruppe Mueller, which has made up of Leopard 2 platoons, as well as a Panzer Grenadier platoon, armored infantry, recon, AA, and anti-tank Jagdpanzer. So the story continues. Lots of fluff. Probably at least half of this book is fluff. Some of these missions are in the back of the book as playable missions in Team Yankee. Some nice pictures of the West German army, them beating up some Soviets, pretty cool. And then here we have Panzer Division 1 and the start of the army lists. So here we have a Panzer Division 1, Panzer Brigade, and then Panzer companies. First up is the Panzer Company. So here we have a breakdown of a Panzer Company, a tank company. Now, before we get too far, just talk about the Leopard 2 tank that you see here. This tank is pretty awesome. It's the most powerful tank released in Team Yankee so far, and it's priced accordingly. So this has pretty much the armor of a Abrams, front 18, side 7. It's not quite as good as the Abrams on the side, top 2. However, it's got the gun of a T-72, so it's got an anti-tank rating of 22, which will punch through T-72 tanks with almost no problem at all. Whereas the anti-tank of an Abrams is only 20. The 22 is a significant leap, and that's due to the 120 millimeter smoothbore gun fitted to the Leopard 2. The M1 Abrams, at least the initial version that we have in Team Yankee, still has 105 millimeter, and that's why its anti-tank rating is a little bit lower. So here you go. So as a result, each one of these Leopard 2 tanks is quite pricey. I think they're 11 points each. So you can't get a lot of Leopard 2s in a 100-point battle and include all the other stuff you might want, like anti-aircraft, infantry, helicopters, and so on. So we see here the breakdown. You get an HQ for 11 points, and you can take required one platoon of Leopard 2s and either one platoon of Leopard 2s or a Marder Panzer Grenadier Zug or platoon. So they're very clever here, realizing that the Leopard 2 is very expensive. They give the option of not having to run two platoons of them. You can run one platoon of Leopard 2s and one platoon of mechanized infantry and have your required platoons from there. So unlike the American Tank Company and the Soviet Tank Company, which require two platoons of tanks in their tank company, the Germans, the West Germans, are a little bit more flexible. So over here we have the company breakdown on the last page. Here is the breakdown of the individual platoons, and you can see those stats we were talking about. The Leopard 2 platoon itself comes in either 2 or 3 Leopards, so 22 or 33 points. And again, they are monsters. They have Abrams stats with that T-72 gun, and just amazing. But again, that's 11 points you're spending per tank. And 7 side armor means anything gets to your side, you are in danger. So we have the Leopard 2 Panzer Zug. We have the M109, which is the American 155 millimeter artillery. We have a Jaguar 1, which is a Jagdpanzer, which is a tank hunter. And this is equipped with a hot missile, which is AT-23. So that hot missile's anti-tank rating will again punch right through T-72s. So these things are deadly to tanks. Then we have the Panzer Grenadier Company. So this is basically armored infantry company, or mechanized infantry. You have the HQ, and you can take either one platoon required of infantry, and then just like the tank company, you can either take a Leopard 2 or another Marder Panzer Grenadier platoon as you're required. So it's kind of the same thing as the tank company, except your HQ could be different. And here we have the breakdown for the Marder Panzer Grenadier Zug, which is the infantry platoon. The infantry has the MG3 team, or Panzerfaust 44 anti-tank team, very respectable AT-15 on that Panzerfaust. And then they also have Milan missiles, which are AT-21 guided weapons. Very, very nasty, range at 36. That's pretty awesome. And a Marder transport for that infantry. So a fully maxed out mechanized infantry platoon is going to set you back 7 points, which is not bad at all. That gets you 3 machine gun teams, 2 missile teams, and 3 of the Marder transports with a very nice 20 millimeter gun on the top. Over here we have the Jaguar 2 Jagdpanzer Zug. Same thing we saw earlier. You can get 3 or 2. They've got the hot missile, which is pretty awesome. Here we have an M113 Panzer Morser, which is basically a observer. Okay. Then over here we have the Panzer Aufklärung. I don't know if that's pronounced correctly, which is basically a formation that has older tanks. And this introduces the Leopard 1 tank, which is an older tank, and it's only priced at 3 points each. And here you can take recon, and a Leopard 1 platoon, as well as some extras, but those are required. Here we have the Lux Spa troop. It's 2 Lux for 1 point, and basically they are armored cars. They have a 20 millimeter cannon, so their anti-tank rating is 7. Not really a threat to heavy tanks, but could chew up your BMP-2s, your M113s, those things. Then we have the Leopard 1. So these are 2 tanks for 6 points, or 3 tanks for 9 points, so again 3 points apiece. Leopard 1 is front armor 9, side armor 5, top armor 1, so it's not that good, but you can buy quite a few of them for peanuts. The gun they have is not bad. It's a 105 millimeter gun, so it's like the Abrams with an anti-tank rating of 19, which is pretty awesome. Fires out to 40 inches. So they're glass cannons. They've got an awesome gun, but front armor 9 is basically tissue paper against a T-72. Then over here we have more infantry units. So this is an infantry unit. Again, 3 teams, 1 Milan missile team, and 3 of the Fuchs, the tracks. Well, these aren't tracks, these are wheeled. But it has its own transport platoon. Then over here we have kind of the division support. We have a Gepard Flak Panzer battery. This is your radar controlled 35 millimeter, I believe, guns on these tanks. Now the neat thing about this, and the bad news for Soviet players, is you can get up to 6 of them for 15 points. Not only can you do that, but for every tank that you buy, you can also buy a basically a red-eye team. So this is a stand of 3 red-eye teams, so it's shooting rate of fire 3 at aircraft. So you can have a lot of anti-aircraft right here with the Gepard and these red-eye teams. Now it's pricey. For 6 of these you're paying 15 points, and if you add 6 red-eye teams, that's another 6 points. That's 21 points out of your 100. You're already paying 11 points per Leopard 2. You run out of points quick, but these will make short work of hind companies and anything like that. All right, over here we have the cute little PA anti-tank helicopter flight. So you can get up to 4 of these. And basically they are one weapon. They have hot missiles, anti-tank 23. So very, very deadly against T-72s. But you're paying a lot. 4 of them is 16 points. That's more than a 4 Cobras at 14 points. Then we have the large Rechtin Wherfore battery, which is basically rockets. They're artillery rocket system. So these guys are basically firing 110 millimeter rockets, big salvo template. You can get 4 of them for 6 points. So if you want to facing a lot of infantry, you're going to want to drop some of these on them. Against tanks, the rockets aren't that great. Anti-tank 3, firepower 4+. The best they're going to do against T-72s is bail them, I believe. But still, pretty awesome salvo template, and the vehicles look pretty cool. Then you have the Roland, and this is another anti-aircraft unit, and you can take up to 6 of these for 9 points. So you can buy them in 2, 4, or 6. And it contains Roland missiles, rate of fire 3. So you buy 6 of these, rate of fire 3, that's 18 shots at a squadron of Hinds. They're not going to stick around long. So the West Germans pretty much take the cake as far as the premier anti-aircraft faction. They can take a lot of anti-air, whereas the Americans are just limited to 1 platoon of 4 BADs at most. All right, then over here we have a M113 OP, so an observation post for the artillery battery, and then the very cool swing wing Tornado strike fighter. So you can get up to 4 of these for 8 points. So they're pretty cheap, considering 4 A-10s is 20 points. So you get 4 of these for 8 points. They have pretty cool MW1 submunition dispenser with KB-44 bomblets. So it's a salvo template. It's a big template, but it's anti-tank 8, firepower 3+. So anti-tank 8 against top armor. So that's going to go through almost all top armor T-72s without a chance, firepower 3+. The awesomeness of that weapon is counterbalanced by the fact that it's only a 6-inch range, so you really got to be on top of the enemy to drop that template. Then they also have the autocannons, the guns, which are rate of fire 3, anti-tank 7, 5+, anti-helicopter. So that's the Tornado strike fighter, pretty cool. We have some more pictures. There's the Roland Red Eye team. Very cool. Special rules. The West Germans get bazooka skirts, which basically gives them side armor 10 against heat weapons. So not as good version of Chobham armor or the BDD armor that the Soviets have. Forward defense. Jaguar 1 or 2 platoons can be placed on the table in missions with deep reserves in addition to the normal limit of 1 unit with the front armor greater than 4. So there's some missions where you can't start with all your armor on the table. That's called like a forward defense mission. This rule lets the West Germans place those tanks, those awesome Leopard 2s, on the table, even though the scenario wouldn't normally allow it. So next up we have the scenarios. So these are based on Kampfgruppe Mueller and Mueller's story in the Team Yankee universe. So just like Bannon in the original rulebook and his missions, you have scenarios for him at the forward edge of the battle. We're not going to go through much detail, but I found that these are can be entertaining, just one-off, but sometimes you have to fudge the force lists. You don't always have everything they want or everything they require in the scenario, but you can get it pretty close, and it gives you something different than just rolling the standard missions. So there's another mission. Then we have the painting guide. So we have 2 different kinds of paint schemes here. You have basically a NATO 3-tone camo, and then a basic brown-gray, or sorry, yellow-olive is what they call it. So those are some of the options you have. There's obviously other options. You could probably Google it and find winter camo schemes for these, and all different kinds of schemes. Painting for the helicopter, and a guide on how to do the painting. Now I did my Americans in 3-tone NATO camouflage, very similar to these, because I like that scheme and it looks really good. Looks really good on those Leopard 2s. So you have a really cool paint guide with the new Team Yankee colors as required there. Then here we have the infantry, again a painting guide for the infantry, what colors and how to paint them, including the West German flag, which is kind of cool. And then that's it, a recap of Mueller's story and where he fought, so pretty cool. So overall, I'm not going to collect the West Germans, at least not right now, but I still bought the book because I like Team Yankee and I wanted to see all the cool stuff in here. And I know several friends, several members of our gaming group will be collecting Leopard, and I'd like to know what the stuff can do when they show up with it on the table. So we will have Team Yankee battle reports featuring West Germans in the future. It probably will be still about a month or so away. It's on the painting table and there's a lot going on. But we will see those against my Soviets, I'm sure. So there you have it, Leopard. Should you buy it? I would say so. Even if you don't want to collect the West Germans, it's an interesting book. It's got cool information about the West German Army, cool story with the fictional Team Yankee World War III universe, and then the stats and formations are pretty awesome in here as well. You can really see what the West Germans brought to the battlefield in the fictional world of Team Yankee. So there you go. I'd say check it out. That's Leopard, West Germans in World War III Team Yankee. Thanks for watching this review. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave it down below. We appreciate a thumb up and a subscription to the channel as well. Thanks, and keep on gaming.